People of the internet, welcome back to episode 3 of working on this Segway GoKart Pro 2 drift build. All right, so in the second episode, what we worked on was getting these PVC sleeves mounted onto the Segway stock wheels. This was extremely challenging and kind of made the wheels almost more of a permanent fixture on the cart than I would like. So I do have I've brainstormed some plans for how I'm going to fix that. But moving on from that, that's something we can come back to at a later time. The next issue that we ran into was these handbrake pads running into the wheel. So it's constantly dragging. And as you can see, I mean, I did not drive long on these at all, and it completely chewed them up. So that's not going to be good for life of the PVC tires. It's also robbing me of power. And so today, the main thing we're going to do, I think, in this episode, because I like to try to only change one variable at a time and then test drive it to see how it affected it. So even though I think that we could chop those off and do the angle kit all in the same episode very easily, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to chop those off today, see how it drives, post that as a separate episode, and then in the next episode we'll move on to fitting the battle arrow angle kit. So let's get set up and let's get to work. So there are two main things that you're going to have to do in order to get to the handbrake pads and be able to cut on them. The first thing is going to be the same thing we did last episode, which is to remove this S-Max from the rear of the vehicle. You can do these in either order, but I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. So we undo the straps, strap 1, strap 2, unplug this little plug, and we'll unzip this and detach there. And from there, simply lift up and this can come out. The second thing, which I've already done on this side, is we're going to have to remove this plastic from the side so that we have a little bit better access right here. So I'm going to do it, turn around on the other side, and I'll show you guys how it's going. All right, this is a very simple removal. So all we really need for it is a Phillips head screwdriver. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are our main 4. That's going to then allow us to remove that silver or that gray piece, and then 5 right here. All right. Something to note right quick is that as you remove this, you're going to have to pull up on the handbrake away from you just to get clearance for this to come out. This small screwdriver here, and just wedge it into this spring, then pry the spring out from the handbrake. And now that the handbrake is loose, and pull this back, and we're just going to feed the spring. I'll show you through this hole right here, and that'll allow you to move that cover. All right, so we're going to take a look here at the way that this handbrake system works. So I didn't want to fully lose the lever, mostly because I do have plans to still use it to have an electronically actuated handbrake instead of a physical pad slowing it down. So I'm not 100% sure if that's still going to be possible. If it's not, that's not the end of the world. I have some other thoughts on how I could do that. On this side, it's going to be really easy. On this side, it's just going to be trim right through there, and then get rid of that pad entirely, and then that's a non-issue on that side. So I think what I'm going to do is start with the left side, and then refit the wheels, see if I actually need to get rid of this bar. If not, then I'll get rid of that, and I'll get rid of this piece right here and just get rid of the main pad if I'll still have clearance. But I'm not 100% sure that that'll work. If not, I may just abandon this bar altogether, and then when I go back to do a handbrake, I'll have to figure out maybe a mounting solution like up here or something like that, somewhere else with the handbrake. But if I do end up having to get rid of this bar, I'll probably just cut down here so I can still keep the bar and maybe try to figure out another place that I can put it. So I should have probably done this before I cut it off, but whatever. Live and you learn. Measure once, cut twice, you know. So still making contact even with that part shaved off. So instead I'm gonna have to just make a mark here and then cut that entire part of the bar off. Probably I'll leave myself a little room, but cut that entire part of the bar off, and I'll have to do that on both sides. So now I've got good clearance on both sides. Nothing dragging against the wheel. So hopefully this should be equivalent to actually gaining a little bit of power. And yeah, I'm gonna get cleaned up for a second, and then we'll go take this on a little test drive. As I'm buttoning this up, I noticed one other small detail. So on here, there is a little piece of the rubber on the bottom that comes in contact with the edge of the wheel. So I went ahead and trimmed that off, and then you can see right now that also for the plastic piece, there's a little part that's sitting on the wheel, and you can see on here where it basically wore a gap there. So what I'm gonna do is I already trimmed the rubber part off, but I'm also probably gonna just trim essentially from here to about, really just trim off this entire that entire area right there, so that we don't have anything coming in contact with the wheel when it's fully put back together. All right, so now it's clearance, so nothing hits. I actually had to go back and forth a couple times and do a pretty decent amount of cutting, basically all the way back to even with this border right here. You got to get rid of everything because you'll run into clearance issues. One just quick note though is make sure you don't go too deep, because you do have this screw hole right here, which is one of your main mounting points for it, and so it'll be all flappy and stuff if you accidentally cut that screw hole and compromise that. I am super pumped about how that went. Now it definitely slides. It's not super capable once again because the angle, there's not a lot of angle, and so on transition there's nothing to really rescue there from spinning out. So you have to be kind of a little bit gentle with it and do slower, kind of more smooth transitions versus being able to really throw it like you would like to. Super fun. There was actually even a couple moments where I was gaining speed and getting some grip, which was cool. Transitioning is a little bit of a learning curve, potentially from me, potentially from learning how the brakes work on this thing. Trying to figure out how to get it to grip up to take me into the transition and switch directions was a little tough sometimes. It just kind of wanted to continue on. But like I said, I think the next step now will be the angle kit. I'm super pumped at how that worked out. That was great. So in episode 4, it'll be time to install the Battle Arrow angle kit. And then we're going to do some cool stuff too with making this thing look a little bit more unique and, you know, drifty boy like I like to do. So appreciate y'all's time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and join in for the rest of the journey with this kart. And pretty soon, yeah, we'll be out there tandeming with the boys. Till next time.